We shall now take a look at a program which finds the sum of two matrices, and both the matrices are going to be two-dimensional matrices. Before we go to look at the program to find the sum, you need to understand you can add only two matrices if they are compatible, in the sense the number of rows of the first matrice should be equal to the number of rows of the second matrice. The number of columns of the first matrice should be equal to the number of columns of the second matrice. So what I have done here is I have declared A as the first matrix with 5 rows, 5 columns, B as the second matrix with 5 rows, 5 columns, and sum, which is going to hold the result of A plus B. Now R1 stands for the number of rows of the first matrix, C1 stands for the number of columns of the first matrix, R2 and C2 rows and columns of the second matrix respectively. I and J are variables used to travel through the rows and columns of the two matrices. So first I'm asking the user enter the order or the number of rows and columns of the first matrix. Then next I'm asking the user enter the order of the second matrix, in the sense enter the number of rows and columns of the second matrix. Then I'm asking the user enter the elements of the first matrix. Okay, so using this normal two for loops, I'm reading into A and IJ. Now enter the elements of the second matrix, so I'm reading the contents into array B. Now what I need to do is I can find the sum only if the number of rows is equal to the number of columns of, if the number of rows of the first matrix is equal to the number of rows of the second matrix, and same, the number of columns of the first matrix is equal to the number of columns of the second matrix. So for that, what I'll do is I'll say if R1 equal to R2, and we'll use the logical operator, and C1 equal to C2. All right, so then what are we going to do? We are going to do the addition. All right, so first we'll take a look at the loop for addition. So it's really easy. Addition is, I can just simply copy this loop because it's going to save me a little bit of typing. So wherever you can copy, please do copy. Do not type the stuff. It's not, typing is not fun. Just want to save time. So I'm doing a for loop. In this for loop, what I am doing here is I am going to find the sum. Okay, I'm going to say sum of I and J is equal to A of I J plus B of I and J. All right, so this should give you the sum of each element with the corresponding element of the two matrices. So now once we get the sum, we are now required to print the sum. So again, I'll use my copy paste. I've already copied it, so it should be in the buffer. So I can just paste it. So I can just reuse that. Okay, let me get this off. And what I can do is I can, now I'll be using a bracket. You'll know why I'm using a bracket very shortly. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to simply say cout set width of 5, and I'm going to print sum of I and J. So this is going to print sum of I and J. Now this cout statement is associated with the inner loop. So it's going to go to row 1, print all the elements of that particular row. So once it prints all elements of that row, it is important that I generate an end line, because I should go to the next line to print the next row. So this way I am printing the second row. That's why I have this cout end line. Now I need to end this big if with this particular flower bracket. So you see this flower bracket is matching up with the flower bracket right on top here, and this flower bracket is matching up right here. Now else what I can do is I can say cout, I can say in COMPI compatible matrices. That means you cannot really add them. All right, and then pretty much get ch and end your program. All right, so we'll first take a look at the explanation. It's a very simple program. I can't see anything really going much wrong, but you never know in programming, you could make mistakes. So what I have done here is, at a very high level, I have declared two arrays A and B. to read the input values into two matrices. Sum is going to store the result of A and B. Then these I already have explained. I'm asking you to enter the number of rows and columns in the first matrix, followed by number of rows and columns in the second matrix. Then I'm reading the content of the first matrix here. As you can see here, I'm reading the content of the first matrix. As I come down here, I'm reading the content of the second matrix. Now, if the number of rows of the first is equal to second and columns are also equal, then I can go and do the addition. Addition is quite simple. I need to simply add the corresponding elements of A and B to sum. Alright, so that's how the addition is going to be. I'm going to take these two and assign it to sum. Now, in order to print out, what I am doing is I'm printing one row at a time. Now I'll show you during running what happens if you take out this end line. It's not going to, after printing the row, it's not going to go to the next line, and the output is not going to look like a matrix. It's going to look quite ugly. So let's first compile and let's pray it really works. All right, we're lucky. So what I can do is let's run this program. So I'm going to enter a 3 into 3 matrix. First is 3 into 3. Second is also 3 into 3, just to make it easy. So the elements of the first matrix 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, second matrix, let me enter 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, and 3. So this way what we'll know, I think the sum should be similar because I have given the corresponding elements like that. So here if you see, the sum is printed correctly, 579, 579, and 579. Because if you look at it, if you add them, 1 plus 4 is 5, 2 plus 5 is 7. So this is how you get the output. Let's do a little bit enhancement to this, in the sense when we are printing, we should also say that we are printing the sum. So here what I can do is, I can say end line. So it goes to the next line and gives a sum of two matrices. Okay, and I can do a end line here. Now I'll show you a thing here, just see what really happens. I'm going to remove this, put this in comment. Okay, just see how the output will look ugly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put that in comment and try to run it. So I'm going to write for a small values so you really know what is happening. So let me enter a matrix of order 2 into 2. Okay, B is also 2 into 2. So I'm going to enter 1, 2, 2, 3. Then I'm going to enter 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now see what happened. All the results after printing 4, 6, it did not go on the next line because after printing that row, I had commented out the cout. This is a mistake which students frequently make. So what you have to do is you have to remove this follow out. Now you will see when I rerun the program with the same data, you will see it's working fine. First matrix 2 into 2, second matrix 2 into 2, elements of the matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, and then elements of the second matrix 4, 5, 6, 7, and now you see the result. So it looks neat. It shows 1 plus 4 is 5, 2 plus 5 is 7, 6 plus 3 is 9, 7 plus 4 is 11. So you can try it out for 3 into 3, 4 into 4, 5 into 5, not beyond that because the limit is 5 rows and 5 columns. So with this, I believe you have understood how to add two matrices.